What's going on, people? Darden here, bringing you some Shao Kahn online gameplay footage. Now, I really like Shao Kahn, man. For some odd reason, I can pull off his combos very easily. I don't have any. I rarely drop his stuff. That hammer is very forgiving when it comes to converting certain combos, and you'll see me convert some here. Now, this is my first time playing Shao Kahn online, so this matchup here, every matchup that I do is going to be a first when it comes to playing an online opponent. So you can see nothing major there, but I am in his Dark Emperor variation, and I like that one because it has a grab move in it that you can convert into. I think it's down back 3 goes into like a hammer grab. You'll see me do it a few times in this, but you know, I'm familiar with Sub-Zero. He doesn't have you know, a whole lot of moves to look forward to. So if you've seen a few moves, you've pretty much seen them all. If you've played 1 or 2 Sub-Zeros, you kind of played most of them, so you know what they're gonna come with. And he catches me there with that fatal blow, and I have to watch out for those a lot more. I get caught with those a little too much for my own liking, so let's try to watch out for those. And Shao Kahn, I kind of do the same approach with him as I do with Mortal Kombat, which is that you want to be kind of at mid-range to really be scary with these characters. Up close and far away, they really can't do much. Like, there are a lot of characters that can outzone them, and up close there are a lot of characters whose buttons are a lot better than theirs. So you really want to be mid-range is probably the best place. Now, I didn't punish that slide there. I'm using his 1-2 combo string, which will combo into his shoulder bash. You amp that and it goes into his full combo for about 299 damage or something to that effect for 1 bar. So it's not too bad. So at that range, I can probably reach him. I don't know why I wasn't. I think I was waiting on him to slide or something. But typically when a character is retreating or backing up, a character like Shao Kahn or Mortal Kombat, like you can see there, is able to reach them. And very few people will actually be able to block while they're backing up or in retreat mode. So a lot of times you can catch them with a low 3 or 4, because I think those typically are a little bit longer. Some characters may differ. Like, I know Noob's down 3 has a lot of range to it, and some of these other characters are down 4s, you know, go almost across the map. So there you go. I catch him with it, and I actually missed that there. I think I just had a wrong input, but get him in the corner and trying to keep him there. Shao Kahn, Mortal Kombat, these characters, they take up a lot of space on the screen. You can see me do it there. Now, I amplify it there and get 321, but that's for 2 bars. Not really worth it if you ask me, especially when you have characters like Scorpion. A lot of these characters, they can get that with 1 bar. So I really don't want to spend 2 bars on 1 combo unless it was to finish it out, which I thought I was, but I didn't. But I get it there. That spear that he throws, that Shao Kahn throws, has a lot of recovery time, so I try not to use it a whole lot or throw it out every now and then. And again, you kind of want to be at mid-range there, and there I kind of bait out. He's pressing buttons, trying to fill me out. And against these type of characters, you really don't want to do that, because that's what they want you to do. I try to get my buff there, because on that buff he gets a lot of damage. If you catch him with the hammer, it pops him back up, and you can kind of continue the combo a little bit. So yeah, I like him. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the most damage out of him. I think I haven't seen anything so far that I can get more in his tournament variations. Now, I have seen people do some big damage with him with some other variations, but as far as the tournament variation, you need to have those amps going on. You need to have either the Dark Priest up, or you have to have your character debuffs and you start getting some crushing blows and things like that. But overall, I like him. He covers a lot of space. Like I said, I rarely drop combos with him, you know, and you can see I get both those rounds and get the win. All right, so next round, I'm going to try to do the same thing. I'm going against a sub. I'm not too afraid of Sub-Zeros. You know, unless they get up close and they try to reset you, then you might be in trouble, because he does have a decent overhead. It's not impossible to block it. It's probably a little harder to block it online, but if you can see it coming, you can stand up. But it is faster than most that I've seen so far in the game. So he has really good mix-up potential. So I like to try to keep, at least when I'm using Shao Kahn or Kotal Kahn, because I play them almost the same, I try to keep that mid-range. Try to get that range where that, because again, same thing like with Kotal, Shao Kahn has, you know, his buttons aren't the best when it comes to his combos. Now his pokes are fine. His pokes, he has the same thing. He has very fast pokes. I think they're, you know, between 8 9 frames, 7 and 8 frames, something in those realms. I don't know the exact frame data, but I know it's in that realm. And then he has a little bit of mix up with that. Like I can turn that into a low, or you don't know if I'm going to amplify it, so you don't know if you're going to want to punish it or try to punish it or not. So there are little head games like that you can play. And of course he has a low, but it doesn't have a lot of range on it, but it does lead to his backbreaker move. And in his other variation, if you have your opponent debuff, that backbreaker move will do a crushing blow, which gives, and it's like 340 damage or something crazy like that. That's a lot of damage. This variation also has his overhead slam, like a hammer slam, but I really didn't use it too much. I want to start using it a lot more, incorporating some type of mix-up. It's always good to at least keep your opponent thinking a little bit. And again, I get caught with a fatal blow, so it's one thing I just have to look out for. Now that's the one thing that's kind of scary about, or not the one thing, there's a lot of things scary about Sub-Zero, but in this match one thing I was looking for was that slide, because sometimes Sub-Zeros will throw it out until you punish them enough times, then they might stop. But I obviously hadn't punished them enough, so he's throwing out that, because that move there I believe is, I think it's a mid. I think that's his 4-2-1 for Shao Kahn. I'll see the next time the opponent is ducking, but I don't really remember. This is a older video, but I had a lot of stuff recorded and I wanted to get it up and just talk a little bit about my mentality going into fights with certain characters and the matchup against certain characters. So get another win against the Sub-Zero there, and I think this is the final round of the set. These are ranked matches, so it's the best first to 3, best of 5, however you want to phrase it. And so again, you know, I'm not punishing that slide properly. I believe I can punish it with 1-2 and to his shoulder bash and go from there, but that's one reason why I've kind of been a little bit more hesitant to throwing out my 4-2-1 or the basic combo string that I've been using. And it's always good to incorporate throws in the game. I think a lot of people don't incorporate them enough. They are essentially 50-50s. They're, you know, you have to guess which direction the person's gonna throw you. First you have to know that they're gonna throw you, and then try to guess in a split second which way they're gonna throw you. So they're a very good tool to use. I'm waiting for his I think that was I pressed the wrong button there, but away from him to throw out his crushing blow. So I'm not trying to do any type of major moves and things like that, because again, I don't know all the frame data. I don't know everything. I know a few things that could be safe, a few things that are not, but I know if I did get caught with something that wasn't safe, he could have hit me with the fatal blow. So you see me just poke him out. That forward kick has a long startup, but it has a big pushback, and you can see you can kind of just bully a person back into the corner, and that's something Shao Kahn is really good at. A lot of these bigger characters are really good at. And I must say, I've said it in just about every video I put up of Mortal Kombat 11. The developers, they did a really good job making these characters, their movesets, they feel like they should. I think they play to their strengths, and that's really good. And that's not even looking at, you know, all the other moves they have in their variations. So it's going to be exciting when the developers start releasing more variations for tournament mode, and you know, you start getting into some more moves. So I'm really excited about that, and it's gonna be interesting to see. And a lot of these characters, you'll see certain things change as far as tier lists and things like that. Now it's still early. I know some people have given their early impressions on tier lists and things like that, and I've heard some of the pros and some of these guys who play at high levels say that they believe Shao Kahn is pretty weak. Maybe at that level he is, but for us casuals or people who like to play ranked or play online, I really don't. You got to take those tier lists with a grain of salt, because these people, they're playing a different type of meta than us regular folk who are playing online. So granted, some people. So I say all that to say, I think for the most part everybody's pretty balanced. Just looking at the move list and looking at what you can do with each character. Now, sure, there's some characters that can get bigger combos and they can get them a lot easier than others. So you do have things like that. But I also believe those characters have strengths in other places that those same characters, those counterpart characters, don't have. So here I have going up against a Kotal Kahn, and I feel like this guy's just trying out the character. I don't think he's really proficient with them. He's not doing anything crazy. He's kind of just sitting back turtling like a lot of people will do. So he gets the grab there, which that grab took me out of my animation, so it's like a counter grab, I think. And they both have good pokes. They both have good range, slow buttons. So with this matchup, it really is about who's gonna get that animation started first, who's gonna get that button started first, and they're gonna win that kind of mid-range war. Because again, that's where I believe these characters are the strongest. Now, they do have moves up close. Like I said, once you get close with Shao Kahn, he can do that low. He has that. I think it's like a back 3-4 and two his backbreaker move, but it's not the fastest, one, and two, again, a lot of buttons can beat that out. So but you can mix up. It's still his strongest place is gonna be for me in mid-range, kind of like where you start at, maybe a little bit further. So you see me trying to always keep that. Now if I had backed up and did that same move again, I would have punished him for trying to down poke, because that down poke isn't as fast, but it doesn't have a lot of range. So that's a great move there too for a Kotal Kahn. That I think that's like a 4-3 or 4-3-4, something like that. So that's a good move to use in Kotal Kahn. And of course you get the crushing blow on, I think, counter for that overhead. And I think that's good damage for especially for online. Not sure if you can do. I'm pretty sure you can do much more, but I don't know if it's worth it. So what I could do also with my Shao Kahn is try to incorporate his Dark Priest. You see me do it there because the guy's he's really just turtling. So he's not really trying to attack. So I was feeling confident. I'm trying to do my combo there, and you can tell I was just thinking that. But those down stumps that you see me doing is the low move that I was talking about. The range isn't great at all, but these are things you have to understand when you play a character and when you go up against the character. So I really won't be too afraid of any of those lows per se. He does have a quicker low, but again, that the range on it still isn't that great. So maybe these are the reasons that some of the pro players don't feel that Shao Kahn is that good, because he doesn't have a lot of things that you have to really be afraid of per se. You can see his moves from a mile away, and it'll be really. I think he might have a hard time at higher levels. I think he might have a hard time opening people up and things like that. But again, that's for people who are on a completely different level. For us who just like to jump in and play the game, I think he's just fine. I think most of the characters are just fine. All right, and I think this is going to be our last set here against this Kotal Kahn. And again, I think he was just really learning the character, so not really much to talk about. He's kind of just turtling, and again, I really don't have any type of true mix-up to get him to open up one way or the other. It's not like a Sonya. Like Sonya has a crazy overhead low mix-up game. Probably the best in the game from what I've seen so far. There's like one or two move lists that I have not seen, and I think that's like Cetrion and probably one other character's move list I haven't seen yet. But I'm pretty sure she has probably one of, if not the best mix-up game in the game. So, you know, I zone him out there. You don't really want to try to get into a zoning battle with Shao Kahn. This kind of isn't where you want to be. All this, even with the hammer throw, because this variation, Ascension does, no, not Ascension, Dark Risen Emperor doesn't have the hammer throw. You do have your javelin or your spear, and you have a up hammer that can go in like an arc, but you're not gonna zone anybody out with that at all. At least I don't think so. There's that stomp move. Another great thing about that is you get that side switch, and then you get almost 200% damage off that. So it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I try to combine that, and it didn't work. I think I tried to use my fatal blow, and it didn't work. That's another thing. His fatal blow is kind of slow, so it's not the easiest to combo into. You can, I mean, most of the fatal blows aren't too hard to combo into, excuse me. But you know, in a situation like that, you're juggling another character, your timing is gonna have to be perfect. Whereas you have someone like Liu Kang or, you know, Scorpion, you know, it has a lot of range and it comes out really fast. Or even like a Jax, or most of the characters, to be honest with you, their fatal blows come out really fast and they have a lot of range, so it's very forgiving. He throws out like a spear, and you have to like catch your guy on that spear. But I'm sure with a little bit more time, there's easier ways to combo into it. But you know, that's just me on the fly. You know, if you're on the fly and something happens, you have to be able to react to something. It might be a little bit harder with Shao Kahn. But you know, right now, you know, this guy's backing up. He's trying to get a little push in. He sees he's about to die. You know, he's in chip range, and you know, we beat him out. So that's the end of that video. Thank you all for watching. If this is your first time, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, man. You guys know what to do when you like the video. All right, so I'll catch you in the next one. Later.